Come and listen on.
Don't be afraid to catch feels.
Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Relax Radio with me, Nick, keeping you guys company all the way until 6 p.m. That's right. We are in the final few moments of the show, and we were talking about all things, that is going on right now. What with Scotland getting pressure, receiving a lot of pressure from the general public and from a lot of these airports as well. And they're talking about how they want to open up the country and make sure that they open up the airports for a lot of these people so they can travel internationally again. But then there has been also a lot of pushback as well with regards to that. And looking at other things as well, the COVID costs are actually, right now we're talking about the foreign aid right now, and they're saying that how the COVID has affected a lot of this foreign aid, it has been devastating. So yeah, Boris Johnson has defended the government's decision though, and they've actually, in case you guys have not known, well, they did make a decision just very recently, like a couple of months ago, they decided to cut down on foreign aid, and there has been a lot of criticism and backlash from that, from conservative parties as well as all of these other parties, and they are talking about that. So the Tory MPs also have been talking with regards to this, and they have been pushing back, and they're telling, okay, that we don't really need to make these cuts, is what they are saying. So the MPs are voting on whether to reverse the reduction on the development spending from 0.7% to 0.5% of national income brought in earlier this week. So opening a Commons debate, the Prime Minister did say that this was just a temporary cut made to help reduce public borrowing. But, look, when they say something like this, when they insinuate that, okay, what we're going to do is this is going to be a very temporary cut, we will bring it back to normal. People are worried because how long is this temporary cut going to be? They say, okay, temporary, but for what? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it the next 5 years, a decade? We don't really know for sure, for a fact, how they're going to make these cuts. So it's not really 100% given as of yet. So the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, said that it's going to be indefinite. So look, you can see the Prime Minister, he's playing it safe and he's saying, okay, this is just going to be a temporary cut. But then a Labour leader is going on and saying that it's going to be an indefinite cut. So we don't really know when they're going to make sure that it returns back to normal. So the government has faced this cross-party criticism over the reduction, which amounts to almost £4 billion. Yeah, that's right, £4 billion right now. And I understand how Boris Johnson is trying to handle this, how he's trying to tackle all of this, and how he's trying to, address this particular thing. And he's saying, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to make sure that we take this 4 billion and we spend it on other things as well, other settings with that regards, like for instance the science and the research facilities. And they say, okay, we're going to address all these things, we're going to make sure that we incorporate this, and because right now we can't really afford it. In their words, we can't really afford, foreign aid, and that's why we're cutting all of this, and that is a problem right there. And many conservative MPs have spoken against the move announced last November, despite a commitment to spending 0.7% in the party's 2019 election manifesto. Meeting the 0.7 figure was made law back in 2015, and it was internationally recognized. And these targets, a lot of these charities as well, such as the Oxfam and the Action Aid, have warned that projects are being called off as a result of the cuts. So a lot of these people are facing a big problem, with that regard. There has been a lot of feedback as well, and it's not really the greatest of news, and that is a very, very big problem right there with regards to the foreign aid. So if MPs defeat the government in the vote, spending will revert to 0.7% of the national income by January next year. So they say, okay, if this happens and if the MPs defeat the government in the voting, well, spending, like they said, will be reverted back to normal. And that will happen next year in January. But if the government wins, well, it will happen only when national debt is falling and borrowing is no longer used for day-to-day spending. So with that regards, last month, 30 conservative MPs supported an amendment to a parliamentary bill aimed at forcing the government to meet the 0.7% target. So if they oppose the cut again later, another 14 or so Tories would have to join them to ensure a government defeat. And yeah, you can see how this is escalating and how this is, turning into a whole fiasco right there. But we really don't know how they're going to, with that regards, we don't really know how they're going to do this, but hopefully they will find some sort of way to counteract that. And looking at all, the other countries that have been spending on this foreign aid, right now the spending percentage of the gross national income of 2020. So Germany is right now at the lead lead with 0.73% of their foreign aid spending right there. And the UK, which was supposed to be 0.7 right now, is at 0.5. And France at 0.5, 53%, and Japan at 0.31%, Canada at 0.31% as well, and Italy at 0.22%, and the US at 0.17%. So yeah, they're saying, okay, right now, yes, the UK is at the number two, when it comes to foreign spending and investing in a lot of these countries and charities and places that require water, electricity, and education. But then, we have to see that the spending is going to be affecting them very broadly. So Mr. Johnson said that the MPs have spent 407 billion pounds. That's right, during the pandemic to shelter, in their words, quote unquote, shelter our people from an economic hurricane never before experienced in living memory. And he said that there must be inevitably consequences. And the Prime Minister said that this year's national debt was expected to reach 100% of economic output, that is the highest for nearly 6 decades. So in the past 60 years, this is the highest, that we are coming out to. And we're saying, okay, right now the country is facing national debt. But again, looking back into it, we never really expected Corona to hit us as hard as it did like last year. If you compare last year, the way the situation was, we were, all living a normal life and nothing was going on. And then all of a sudden, we hear about this on the television, on the news, and how they're saying, okay, there is a virus like this so-and-so found in China, and then now how it's spreading and how a lot of countries are panicking. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you wake up in the morning and then there's a national lockdown declared. So this is just, very problematic thing. And yeah, because of that, our economic, when it comes to our economy, well, we are going to be facing a lot of these problems right now. Right now, we are facing, like, for instance, the furlough schemes, and we have a lot of these other things as well, where, welfare and support, and a lot of people who are depending on the government's welfare right now, because this is very problematic. A lot of people have been losing jobs, businesses have been closed, so it is expected, that the economy is facing a lot of these problems. And yeah, with that regards, though, Prime Minister Boris Johnson went on to add that the reduction was going to be temporary, and the UK could take pride that the UK will still contribute at least 10 billion pounds of our GDP. And they're saying, okay, at least 10 billion pounds we're going to be offering, but right now we have to make sure that we cut 0.2%. So they said, he went on to say that this is not an argument about principle. Rather, the only question is when we return to 0.7. And my purpose today is to describe how we propose to achieve this shared goal in an affordable way. And he is looking for ways to, handle this. Definitely look into this. So governments only call votes if they think they can win. So the way it is looking right now, the government looks like the government will win if they do go on with this vote. And yeah, they will decide when they're going to lift and revert rather back to normalcy of when it comes to the foreign aid spending. So yeah, that other 2.2% rather is very important, because look, a lot of these countries will be missing out on this, and countries will struggle, like countries like Pakistan, Sudan, the Republic of Congo, and all of these countries that have been depending on the UK foreign aid. Well, they will be suffering tremendously. And yeah, this is what Tory MPs are trying to point out and make note of, and they're making note of this, and they're saying, okay, listen, they're telling the Prime Minister this is what's going to happen. A lot of these charities have been coming forward as well and have been talking and openly, against all of this. I mean, I understand, the way this country is going and what Boris Johnson's decisions on this are, but then we have to look at it from another perspective and say, okay, look, it's not going to help us any better if other countries are going to suffer as well. So I really don't know. I can see that he's trying to focus all the money right now into the UK, but I really hope that, he knows what he's doing. I mean, the way it is going, there has been, like I said, backlash, and people are not really super excited, but I hope that this is just going to be a very temporary cut. I mean, you tell me what you guys think and hit me up and let me know. You know the numbers. You can always call me on 07852 473 473. That's right. Those are the magical numbers. But hey, with that being said, it is about that time of the day for me to wrap things up right here. But don't worry, I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place, only here on Relaks Radio, RELAKS. And with that, my name is Nick, and I'm out.